Hello there. Right, so this is a an impromptu hangout. This was not something that was planned as such, purely because of the way that things have happened, the way that some things have fallen into place. Now, I know that there is another live broadcast going on at the moment, and I can fully appreciate and understand if you want to go and watch the unofficial blog with theirs, because at the end of the day, there's more people that watch the unofficial blog. I understand my place in the tier of all of the fandoms, and I know that the unofficial blog is the premier place for people to go for their news and updates. So I can appreciate if you want to go and see them, but I'm going to do my best to keep an eye on things as we go. I'm going to be doing it from a slightly remote position as well, purely because of the way that this year has kind of fallen. The way that we would usually do our badges in this particular household is I apply for press, which is proving to be an adventure all on its own. And my wife Caroline goes in as an attendee. She doesn't do the press thing. She doesn't want to do the press thing. It's not what she does. It's not what she's interested in. She wants to enjoy it. It's her vacation at the end of the day, and I can understand and appreciate that highly. So at this point, she would be logged in to take part in the pre-registration badge sale. However, due to lack of funds on available credit cards, we cannot buy for our badge team. At the end of the day, the badges have gone up in price. It's proven to be a rather expensive proposition this year, and to buy for all three is just a little bit out of the question. So at this point, somebody else has taken on her role in the badge team with available funds, and which means Caroline's kind of at a loose end, and she's feeling very lost and detached from the whole thing, which is unfortunate. But at the end of the day, it's just the way that it's all kind of fallen. Never mind. However, it also means that I can't log in for her, which is we would sit side by side, and I would usually be keeping an eye on the yellow messages, which I'm missing out on in a big way because I'm usually a big fan of those. We're missing out on all the updates. We will be missing out in 25 minutes' time as to what the actual procedures, what's actually happening with the badge sale. But at this point, all I really can do is help where I can. I will be a sounding board as required. If there's any questions that you have, by all means, let me know. I mean, I know that if you got the notification, you are probably pretty clued up. You know what you're doing, and I appreciate that. But if anyone is falling over this particular hangout, by all means, yeah, just jump in. The other thing that I wanted to try and do as well is do a bit of a tech test because I am going to be um, hosting the Cup of Tea show, Talking Con, next week, tomorrow, sorry, at the Lakes International Comic Art Festival in Kendal. So I'm wanting to do a bit of a test, and the test is to basically invite myself into the Hangout using my phone. The laptop is used as the host. And when we've done it in the past, what we've found is that even if the host computer disappears, if the Hangout is open and there are guests in there, they stay in and continue to talk. They just can't do anything. They can't control it. They can't turn the Hangout off. It gets a little bit uh, convoluted. So here's the suggestion, or here's the idea. Basically, I am going to do I'm hosting this on the laptop now. I'm going to invite myself in using my phone. I'm going to close the laptop down and see if it stays open. If that's the case, then I've got the selfie stick and I can wander around Kendall and interview people and say hi and kind of do the hangouts. Put the laptop away, just tuck it under my arm or something. And yes, then I'll just wander around and sort of see how people are doing. Hopefully get to catch up with any special guests in Kendall. So that's going to be a bit of fun. And also, I'm going to be speaking to John Meadows to talk about Portsmouth Comic Con as well, that's taking place next week. So that's the plan. Now it's just a case to see if it would actually work. So, bear with me a second. This is where I now see if I can, in actual fact, do this kind of signing in live remote kind of thing. And if that's the case, like I say, it could prove interesting for tomorrow's show. Okay, bear with me a second. Once again, I'm going to keep the chat room open. If there's any questions or anything you want to talk about, anything you want to kind of put to me, if you want to talk about MCM that's taking place in 2 weeks' time, heaven knows that's something that I'm getting extremely excited about. I could even possibly reveal one or two things about what's actually happening, although I might get told off, so I can't reveal too much, but certainly I can reveal as much as I can. That's going to be an interesting thing that I'm going to be doing. Speaking to some world-class talent. Feedback. Now. So I've muted the laptop on everything. So now, if I just go to this, it's very, very spotty. But I think that's down to the 4G in this part of the building, which I can understand. Okay. So the question now is, if I close the laptop, this is where I lose viewers completely. But it's a test. So now I don't know. Going out to the I know that it's going to be very spotty, but technically the Hangout should still be working. Okay, we'll stay with this for a couple of minutes and we'll see what happens. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's now a case of I think we'll just the face icon when you get
Okay, tell you what, if someone wants to message me now and let me know that it's working on the phone. And that answers that question. Curses. Basically, if the host computer goes to sleep, it considers it the end of the broadcast and turns it off, which is annoying. So yeah. Would Alyssa be controlling? Alyssa isn't necessarily a part of the hangout anymore. She's usually busy on her own things. You can set your sleep settings in the power settings. Yes, I can. But it would mean leaving the laptop somewhere to do the hangout, you know, hidden in a room somewhere, which may be an idea. I'll have a think. I'll have a think. I will have a think. Okay, but no, thank you very much indeed for bearing with me on that one. I appreciate it, and thanks to Elliot for all the comments and stuff. Shall we just actually crack on with just keeping an eye on the or doing what we do about the badge sale, shall we? Yeah, backpack, but that still means keeping with an internet connection, right? Here's the thing about Kendal, it's crap. There's no internet there at all. It's very poor and very ropey when it comes to any kind of Wi-Fi signals. Live streaming is a no-go. There's just no way. Even internet inside any of the buildings is particularly pants. The only place that has any decent kind of Wi-Fi, I would say, is McDonald's, Starbucks, Costa Coffee, and I think that's about it. So Kendal is a little bit of a dead zone when it comes to mobile communication. I'm going to be hoping that 4G is enough to kind of keep things going as I wander around. But who knows? We'll work something out for tomorrow. Either that, or I'll do what I've done in the past, which is head into the Brewery Arts Centre, find myself a quiet corner, and just do the hangout. Or I could even head up into the bar upstairs, just outside, and just do one from the balcony or something. I'll sort it. I will sort it, I promise. But either way, I'll be bringing some coverage of Kendal tomorrow. So looking forward to it. Right, well, tell you what, while we're kind of at a loose end, I'll talk about MCM, which is going to be an interesting show. I was on a call this week regarding various panels that are taking place. Some that I know that I've been signed up for. I will be taking part in a number of panels with Chris Claremont, who was announced yesterday. I'm going to be doing two panels with him. I'm going to be doing an X-Men panel and also a spotlight panel on the career of Chris Claremont. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Definitely going to be doing a draw and talk with Tess Fowler, who's going to be talking about her D&D book, which she announced on Critical Role this week. So we're going to be talking to her about her career, to be talking about her approach to her art, because she's always somebody who's learning. So that's going to be a fun thing. Then I got told about a panel that is going to be taking place not in the Comics Village stage, purely because the talent roster that's going to be on this panel means it's a main stage panel. It will be the closest I'll be doing or will have done up to now to a Hall H kind of scenario. Main stage, several thousand people, all of which wanting to hear from everybody on stage on the topic that we're going to be talking about. I'm going to be particularly busy at MCM because it's going to be one of those where there's just so many panels and so many things that I'm going to be doing. So from 10 o'clock in the morning through till anything up to 6 o'clock, from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm going to be bringing I'm going to be doing a lot of panels. Looking forward to it. No pressure then, says Andrew. Yeah, I think it's so big. It's not stressing me out because it's just so big. It's one of those kind of, yeah, it's just, as long as I just have my shit together. Now, I know that leading up to it, I'm going to be sort of heart pounding, and it's going to be a lot of stress. But it's a little bit like my DJing. I've DJed in front of several thousand people. I've done it. I've performed in front of a crowd. I know how to handle myself in front of a crowd. You give me a microphone, and I think I've said this, and if anything, this is the only pressure I've got, and it's on myself, that if I was in that situation, I have been extremely critical of a certain host that has appeared on the Hall H stage at San Diego Comic-Con. She panel hosted for the legendary panel, and this was the second panel of the day. 6,500 people, all absolutely jazzed on a Saturday afternoon, and she just took the air out of the room like that. There was just no energy, and it just all fell. And I turned around and said, if you put me in that position, you give me a microphone on that stage in front of that room, I'll have them, you'd have to peel them off the ceiling by the end of it, because I would just have a blast with them. Time for me to prove it. That's pretty much where I am. It is a massive panel. If anything, my brother put it best. He is currently in Barcelona. He's taking part in one of those kind of like marathon obstacle course runs. Hello, Sarita, how are you? So he's away, and I took him to the airport and was talking to him about this panel, and I explained to him who was on it, and he basically said it sounded like that situation where you go to a firework display and someone accidentally sets all the fireworks off at once, and it can be a bit of a mess. That is the risk at this particular panel, because we are talking, mentioning no names, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a possible 8th person, all of which you could do a 45-minute panel on their own. Each and every one of them, you could do a 45-minute panel on their own. And I've also got to get questions in from everyone else. I can talk for half an hour. I can talk to these people. I can ask questions quite easily. I think for myself, it's going to be a case of discipline, of not doing my usual panel hosting thing, which is having a conversation with somebody. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. The structure's not in place enough. So yeah, I'm just going to have to structure it. If anything, I'm rather pleased and proud that I've got the panel, because I was absolutely convinced, and it was kind of insinuated to me as well, that DC would be getting their own talent in to host the panel, which gives you an idea of how big this panel is. that I mean, this is not just a panel at a convention. This is an event which DC will probably be filming. So it's a big thing. And I'm looking forward to it. I think I'm up for it. I'm up for the challenge. If anything, I'm more wary of the other panels where I'm not too au fait with the topic. I know that there's a couple of panels that have been put together by a publisher, which, if you know MCM, if you know ReadPop, you'll know possibly who that publisher is going to be. But that also then kind of says, okay, so who's going to be on that panel? What's the panel topic going to be? So I don't know. Those are the ones I'm concerned about, where I don't know what to fill 45 minutes with if I don't know what the panel is. So, yeah, but this big one, piece of piss. It's going to be easy. And it is. It's just, I think, to be honest, no one's going to be there to see me. All I have to do is just feed it over to them, and they'll just, they'll take it. Okay. Right. Let's see what I'm doing here. Couple of suggestions about technical for tomorrow. Yes. Leaving the laptop on in a slow vegetative state and running 4G off the phone, I suspect may be the case. But that may require another tech test, because that may require me actually connecting to the phone via 4G and then doing a hangout. It's going to take a little bit of working out. But either way, tomorrow is going to be interesting. So there we go. Right, let's actually dive in with the actual the badge sale. Let's see how things are going. Just out of curiosity, which are the hashtags that you are paying attention to? Because I'm following pre-reg is the one that I'm keeping a close eye on. Might keep an eye on badge sale as well. But no, SDCC pre-reg was going to be my big thing. But we are talking 5 minutes away. Let's see, we're going Andrew's in Andrew English, Sarita P. We have got 6 viewers, so sound out. Please let me know. At this point, if you are watching this instead of watching the unofficial blog, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really do. I could even check in with them and see how they're doing. Yeah, it's frustrating for me because, like I said, at this point, I'd be screen capping. I'd be paying attention to the yellow message bar, because I think that's actually one of the best highlights of the badge sale, because whoever manages their social media now is very, very good. Very, very good. Andrew English, I am just having Messenger open with my team, not following anything. Focus, dedication, like it. So let's quickly go to pre-reg. Basically, everyone's just all taking a deep breath. 4 minutes to go. Let's have a look at this. We've got Brainwise, who's always a good follow. Did you ask the Oracle of Kaganat about your badges? The seer would advise you on the 3 things. Do not refresh the page. Do not open a new tab in the waiting room, and have your Comic-Con member ID, last name, and credit card ready. Vikings, yes, indeed. You see, I love following this stuff. I love following along. And that's been the highlight of my badge sales up to now. If anything, what I'll be able to do is, if I don't get acknowledged for press this year, I will be bringing you a live report of the open online badge registration with the slightly reduced odds. And I'll be doing a show on that. Usually the pre-registration is the one where I'm a little bit more involved, because Caroline is the one in for a badge. 3 minutes to go. What I'll be doing is keeping an eye on the actual sale of badges in terms of when they're going to be selling out, when things work through, because the unofficial blog noticed or recognized that all the badges sold out at 75 minutes. I'm absolutely certain they sold out before then. I thought it was within an hour, but that may just be me. Annoyingly, the unofficial, the actual official account for Comic-Con only tweeted an hour ago. Though they tweeted at the top of the opening of the returning registration waiting room. They are not keeping updates going through. So while the, I mean, it'd be good to have for them to have copied the text from the yellow status bar into their social media and just kind of shared it with the rest of the pages. Just be a little bit more consistent. Would have possibly been a little bit more agreeable. But we are 60 seconds away. And I'm looking at a couple of social media accounts using a GIF of the blue circle of death. I recognize that GIF because one of the frames is slightly out because of the way I animated it. I animated it by hand. So it's nice to know that certain social media accounts are using my graphics. I can't remember what it was. It was a major one as well. It was like a Variety or a Entertainment Weekly used a graphic of the dates for San Diego Comic-Con. It was mine off an Englishman in San Diego. So yeah, fun and games. Someone is waffling on YouTube behind me. Well, I'd tell that person to shut up, Andrew, if I were you. So top of the hour. It's now 5 o'clock here in the UK. 9 a.m. West Coast, midday. So we are now up and running. At this point, you will have a slight gap as all of the people that are in the waiting room will be sorted into badge buying groups. This will be done on a random basis. And at this point, I'm just wishing everyone all the very best. If you are taking part today, I don't know, I'm presuming the people I've got viewing today are taking part today, or is anybody kind of taking part in open online and they're just seeing how the process goes? Let's quickly talk about that. A second, hang on. Yes, let's talk about the timing and also the procedure of what's the open online badge registration. I did get into a bit of trouble with San Diego Comic-Con this year because I basically turned around and said that the returning registration, the international attendees were a little bit mistreated by the whole process, that the delay in the badge sale effectively put another £200-300 on top of our vacation, which is not a small amount of money. at the end of the day. Booking late flights, everything just was because of the delay. And I did kind of word it in a clickbait fashion. I'm not going to lie. So I kind of got dragged into the teacher's office at the Comic-Con just gone and got told or got asked, number one, have I got a beef with San Diego Comic-Con? And, what was my problem? The problem was it basically made life a little bit harder for people coming from further afield for San Diego Comic-Con International. At which point it then got explained to me that it really was something that was a little bit out of their hands. They wanted to do something with their badge sale process and put it inside the member ID, very much like WonderCon, that you buy your tickets inside the Wonder ID, the WonderCon process. At which point they tried to do this, they tried to make it work, and it just continued to fail every single time. And they had to resort to going back to using the Epic registration system further down the line, which is explaining why the badge sale was so late last year. This year, we're now back to what you would consider a traditional timetable. So we're talking the badge sale now for pre-registration. I think we're going to be looking at open online at the very beginning of next year. I think we're looking either end of January, beginning of February. Basically putting it back to a more traditional process. This was also brought up and mentioned by John Rogers at the talkback this year. So that's where we are. Sarita P, good luck to all, absolutely. 4 minutes in. And let's see if we can spot if anybody is in already. It's unlikely, it's only 5 minutes. We have been in the past, you're looking at around 10 past. I mean, it was pretty early actually last year. They could get into about the 8-minute mark when someone, the first announcements that people were in the badge process. So it could be a very quick process. We could really be streaming through this year, but we'll keep an eye on things. Don't forget, if you do have a stuck blue circle, yes, this is where you need to use your registration code and return back into the process. Do not refresh. At the end of the day, it doesn't do anything. You have to start. Bear with me a second. We appreciate your patience as we prepare to begin the random selection process. If you are selected, you'll be automatically moved to a registration session. Do not refresh your browser or you may experience technical difficulties. Indeed. If you do get in, let me know. Jump in on the message, on the live chat. And I'll spread the word and let everyone know. So Andrew is taking part, I know. Sarita's taking part. I've got cats scrabbling around. Bear with me a second. And let there be light. So it's 7 minutes past. Nobody's announcing yet that they've gone into the registration session, which is, like I say, completely understandable. This is not Not the biggest surprise. Andrew English, my last year due to minimum wage and last of savings. I totally understand that. Things have really got to turn around in the next 6 months. So I totally appreciate that as well. Nobody, the unofficial blog are tweeting. Has anybody made it in yet? No, it looks like everyone's still waiting. Oh, just got in. Someone's in there. Gabby YS on Twitter. So somebody's in. Super Cat Chick is very much prepared, but people are getting a little bit stressing. Glenn Oliver, hearing many different stories, in your estimation, what needs to happen to make this whole process better, improve access to Comic-Con? Okay, at the end of the day, I think a bigger convention center, that is something that has been wanted and needed for years. People have been saying that that would just absolutely blow Comic-Con way too big. I know there's some people out there that are very much feeling that San Diego at this point is at busting point for hosting San Diego Comic-Con. I don't believe that's the case. If San Diego Comic-Con didn't exist, another convention would take over that void and we would flock to that and make that the big thing. It's the same drill of people giving Bleeding Cool a lot of grief over the last 24 hours, 48 hours, stating that it's something that needs to go away because they are a bad influence. At the end of the day, if they didn't exist, there would be another site out there that would do a similar thing and fill that void, and that would be then the recipient of all this antagonistic hate and this grief. With San Diego Comic-Con, they have gotten so much grief because they have grown to this position. And at the end of the day, I still think that Comic-Con has a home at San Diego Comic-Con. It's not too busy. It's now spread out to the point, and certainly in 2018 we felt it. There were so many different activations and so many different spaces that people could just move out, and there was this vibe that there was some distance, some space there. Yes, it's a lot of people, but at the end of the day, in actual getting the process better, personally, I think this is probably the best. This is the best process, the random waiting room, because it then takes that element of, it democratizes it. I totally understand people's feelings about putting the effort in, getting the first in line, becoming, if you make that investment of time and effort, then you deserve the rewards. At the end of the day, though, in doing that, it's taking you out of the convention, and that's what San Diego Comic-Con have been wanting to do for years. If they could get rid of every line at San Diego Comic-Con, they would do. I guarantee that's their absolute main priority. And at the end of the day, that's what they want to try and achieve. And this is the only way they can achieve it, by making it a random process. Personally, I think this is possibly the best way it can work. If anyone can think of any other way, by all means. I think the one things that they can improve on, they can certainly improve on the exclusive process by working on a more points related system. But that's something that I think they're thinking on for this year. Brainwise is getting dizzy, unfortunately. He's still, Chuck is still spinning as well, but people are getting in. So it's now a case of working through the process. It's at the end of the day, it's as people go and apply for their badges, and it slowly but surely works through. The odds are strong for the pre-registration, certainly stronger than the open online. I made a statement last week on the Hangout that I've heard and felt that the badges available were something like 10 to 20%, apparently. According to various people who analyze these things, they feel that no, it is more like 50%. I personally don't see that. I don't understand the math on that one. At the end of the day, it's just down to timing and just getting as many people in through the process. So, yeah, it's a little bit confusing on that one. But here we go. The waiting room and badge process may behave erratically if you are using a tablet or mobile device. If possible, enter your registration code on a laptop or desktop to prevent technical difficulties. I know several conventions that are taking place this weekend. How on earth are people supposed to do it at the end of the day? Mike Brunn on Twitter, he's got himself his badges. One second, someone's been got their badges and they got booted off. This is a badge selling group that I'm a friend of. Was in and then kicked him out. Still some issues with this process, but I think it's just down to sheer numbers. But for the majority of people, it does work. I don't think any system is ever going to be completely a second, see what's here. Do you think Comic-Con should offer pre-booking for major events panels, add a second layer of registration through which those definitely attending can secure entry for X events, cut down lines on site? It's something that was brought up, and it's not the worst idea in the world, but then you start getting into the application. It adds a tier of elitism to the process, that those that can afford it to buy a space at Hall H. At the end of the day, if you look at the way that Comic-Con behave, they are still in the mentality of 8 hippies in a garage ordering Dominoes on a Friday night and organizing this thing. If you have that mindset, admittedly, that's when you kind of have the old argument about San Diego Comic-Con against other conventions. San Diego Comic-Con as a charitable non-profit against something like New York Comic-Con, where it is a business. If you come at it from that freewheeling West Coast San Diego vibe, that California vibe of we don't want to charge anyone, man. We want to let everybody in for free. And I guarantee if they could, they could do that as well. But at the end of the day, they do have to pay for, well, first they have to pay for the convention center, and now they have to pay for a museum. So yeah, I think they could use the app more. I think they could do possibly some. The thing is, if the moment anyone announces that there's going to be a lottery system for Hall H, there'll be rioting in the streets, and that could be the end of San Diego Comic-Con. Just, it is a little bit of a knife edge at the moment. The way that fandoms are generally, how reactionary everybody is at the moment. All it would take is just San Diego Comic-Con to make one wrong move, and the backlash would just be wide, unfortunately, as we have seen over the last 2 years, 2.5 years. Curly Four Eyes, no one in our 26 reg group is in yet. Kill me. Ouch. I really should be keeping a track also on the UK attendees group, because we have a number of UK attendees that are doing badge teaming, and seeing how that would work. or how that is working. No doubt the second that something happens with Caroline's badge and with her team, she will let me know. Andrew English, I'm in team UK team 15. Yeah, you're gonna have to let me know how that's going, and see how that's progressing. Okay. Andy on Twitter, last year I got in within 2 minutes. That obviously spoiled me and my anxiety is slowly killing me. Yeah, it's swings and roundabouts, it really is. It would be really upsetting if Caroline didn't get her badge or pre-registration this year. If anything, because she has got 4-day with preview, 8 years on the trot, and she's been incredibly lucky. She knows how incredibly lucky she is. I don't think she'd be that bothered about preview night this year, but who knows? Jerry Ballas, the whole process and the whole numbers going in seems a bit sluggish this year. 1 or 2 people announcing that they've got their badges, so the process is happening, and we will be keeping an eye on There's nothing that's been announced by Comic-Con yet in terms of any sales yet or sellouts yet. Oh, here we go. The unofficial. No, I tell a lie. San Diego Comic-Con has tweeted: preview night inventory is sold out. Badges for other single days are still available. Thank you, Sarita. Yes, Caroline is not in a good place right now. She is feeling very disconnected from the whole thing. I think that she feels very similar to how I did on Saturday at Hall H. Because you don't put the effort in, because you're not connected to the process of getting your badge or getting into a line, you kind of feel a little bit disconnected. I appreciate that. Congratulations, Laura. Got her badges with preview night. Well done. That's someone who's watching us. Thank you very much indeed for taking part, Laura, and well done. Okay. They heavily need to improve the press room. One lady from Fox, I think, basically brought in a device and stole all the bandwidth. Okay. Well, there's been several things that was happening with press last year, which was a little bit awkward. Comic-Con could follow the Cannes Film Festival method. So we bring that up. This is so awkward. I really want to just be following this live. Something like the Cannes Film Festival is give you a certain amount of points to spend on screenings per day. Something similar to this at Comic-Con could quell all sitting and stuff. Well, they also need to obviously make some of the smaller panels a 0-point game, so to speak. It's a good suggestion. It's a good idea. People are getting very, very nervous at this point. Obviously, with pre-reg gone, the next thing to go now will be Saturday. We will keep an eye on it. Looks like Caroline hasn't gotten her preview night, but is that bothered? Bear with me a second. Oh, hang on. I don't see how.
Oh, it's because he's putting Sultana down.
Huh. So, is somebody in?
It looks good, yeah.
For what? Just 4 days?
I don't know.
Okay.
Getting his little drips and drabs. I
Yeah.
don't know when it's in.
Yeah. However much dribs and drabs I'm getting, that's exactly what Caroline's getting at this point, and she's actually getting badges bought for her. So, Carly Mid is watching. Got in, just missed preview night. Right, I'm going to talk about preview night for a second. Preview night is great if you are wanting to go for the WB previews, and if you are wanting to really do the whole exclusives thing. But the whole exclusives thing was turned upside down this year with the exclusives portal. It says an awful lot about how that made a massive difference, not just to exclusives, but also to the tone of the convention. When I was wandering around on the Thursday, and that would be Wednesday and Thursday, and at that point, it would just be a hive of activity, a lot of noise as people are just diving for booths, Funko, Hasbro, etc. Everyone scrabbling to get their exclusives. Except this year, they didn't have to because they knew if they had got their exclusive set up already. So a lot of that energy was taken out of the room. And it's when I was walking around and I met up with the chairman of the committee for the convention center, who is just the most wonderful guy, top person to speak to. And he's just walking around just going, this is really polite and civilized. This is not the Comic-Con that we recognize. And yeah, I got it. I understood what he was saying. There was a different energy. It was just more a case of everyone's just walking around kind of like lost, slightly confused. But let's just keep an eye what else is coming. People at this point are just really either they're in or they're just very concerned, understandably. But it is the 50th anniversary. It is the big one. So, yeah, people are kind of feeling that the process is people are being let in slower than usual. And I believe this is what happened last year as well. So I think the whole figures of timings and what badge allocations are being put to open and pre-registration, I think it's skewed. I think people are being misled by that because they think that things are happening at the same speed as open online, and I don't think they are. I think pre-registration, it's dusting off the cobwebs, it's getting everything settled, and it moves at a slower pace. I personally believe that. So here we go. Super catchy. Everybody is still, oh no, that's just a reply of mine. But that's my feeling on it. I don't believe it's 50-50. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday someone's gotten. Does that mean that Saturday? Well, no, because Saturdays would be the first things to go. Still announcing that it is just preview night that has gone, so Saturday's still available. See, the thing is, that's the thing. If anyone's going in for preview night, they're going for the Saturdays as well. I don't understand why that would be the case. That I think it's just there's a spacing thing going on, and it happens slower than open online. someone is in a Starbucks trying to buy pre-registration because apparently the job's computer keeps blocking the site. Also next to a guy who's been on the phone talking about weight loss supplements for almost an hour. So how's your Saturday going? Oh boy. Friday and Saturday inventory is running low at 28 minutes past. You may not be able to purchase a Friday or Saturday badge if you are now selected for a registration session. At this point, don't forget as well, people have been asking if you are able to take part in the Open Online, not only for yourself, but for somebody else. If, say, for example, you have yourself Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, for all 4 days minus preview night. People have been asking, can you take part in the Open Online to either complete the roster and get your preview night, or can you take part to actually get somebody else their badge? Well, as it happens, if you have any of the days missing, so if you don't have preview night, but effectively, if you don't have any of the other days, you won't be able to get preview night anyway. So if you don't have preview night, then yes, you can take part in the Open Online to either get the preview night badges which are allocated to Open Online, or to get somebody else their badge. Say, for example, you are more than happy with the badges that you've got and you want to get for somebody else, yes, you can do that. My cats are really wanting to get fed at this point. So they are getting slightly anxious as everybody else is online. But at the moment, it is saying that inventory is running low, so not necessarily. It is just 4 day at this point. So yeah, someone got 4 day within the last minute, so it's not that. It is still available, technically. People are acknowledging it's still 4 days, and 4 days are still being sold. I'm just keeping an eye on this, the official announcements now. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay online until 1:45, because at that point I am going to have to get myself ready for work, and I will just have to wish you all the very best. I think it is, if I can stay on until the either the Friday or the Saturday announcements. I'm not hearing anything from upstairs, so it's sounding like Caroline is. This may be the year. This may be the year that she doesn't get what she would like, which is understandable. Like I say, we're at year 9. People are saying it's more painful than previous years. It's taking longer, and I believe that is the case. That it's a more tiered process for pre-registration. I don't believe it's 50-50. I really don't. I think also it would go against everything that Comic-Con believe in to try and get more people through the doors. People who haven't attended before. I think they, while they understand and appreciate people who are wanting to come back to San Diego Comic-Con, I think they would prefer to give badges to those that haven't. Maybe 50 is too high a number, says Sarita. I agree. I think the unofficial blog have wildly got that wrong. Nothing officially from the official account. So at this point, 4-day is technically still available. I tell you something else. I've got the big and major hashtags up and running in the browser. The conversation isn't as frantic this year. It's not as rapid. It's like people are just, they're either resigned to the situation, or maybe the heat is gone. Who knows? Any other comments from yourselves? Anyone else who's still waiting? I mean, Carly, like I say, has got hers. Laura's got hers. Congratulations to the pair of you. Well done. But if anyone else is waiting, jump in on the your message. Let me know. I sensed a little drift in passion heat last year. Yeah, I suspect that was also down to a couple of the major companies not showing up. People talk about, I mean, I am one of the advocates for San Diego Comic-Con. I will turn around and say, if Marvel don't show up, if Game of Thrones isn't there, if Star Wars isn't there, it doesn't matter, because there's still so much to see, and there was so much to see. But yes, there's that spotlight panel. When the spotlight panel on a Saturday evening is the Deadpool 2 panel. Now, I'm trying to work out if that was a thing of the programming for San Diego Comic-Con, CCI deliberately trying to take the heat off Hall H particularly. Ballroom 20 was off the scale. Indigo was immense. But I was wondering if that was the case, if it was a case of just, you know, that kind of that vibe that there was something wrong, something missing. I understand that perhaps there was more fandoms and more stuff being serviced, and yeah, the hype train that comes with Marvel Studios being at Comic-Con is immense. But I totally get what you're saying. Andrew English hoping for 2-day minimum, then go for open reg. Sarita P hoping for anything. Yeah, preview night. Like I say, let's just kind of wrap my thoughts upon that. At the end of the day, it's brilliant if you are returning reg, and I personally think preview night badges should be skewed towards first-time attendees, because it's a way for you to get a lay of the land, a sense of the location, a sense of the vibe, without getting completely mobbed out by the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, not tens of thousands of people that make their way into that building. It's a way for you to kind of navigate the space and get a sense of the geography. That, for me, is what preview night is for. Beyond that, there's some really good bars in San Diego, and as an option, as options go, going to a bar in San Diego is not the worst idea in the world. Still no word from the official San Diego Comic-Con account, so nothing about Friday or Saturday yet. The chatter on these hashtags are really, really slow. This is the first year in 4 years that we got our badges during pre-reg. We had to stress with the normies during open reg those 4 years. We got in every year. It was effing stressful. Yeah. Stadium Arcadia, just sitting here with Xanax, music, and a blue circle. Carly, see you in July. Got all 4 days. Bravo. That was 4 minutes ago. AA9 Kitten. All 4-day badges. Good luck, bear worked. Excellent stuff. And then you're just seeing no one in the group has gotten in. Hard work. So, like I say, unless anyone else is seeing any of the messages, Friday and Saturday badges are still available. Or we are seconds away from them being cancelled away. The timings are similar to last year in that we still had badges available. Leonard, would you go if no tickets? No. I would go to support Caroline. I would probably go and see a lot of off-site stuff. Oh, so would I go to San Diego? Considering that I'm really wanting the website to work, I'm really wanting what I do to take off, I would get more done if I stayed at home and remotely reported on San Diego Comic-Con. It's as simple as that. I would get more done. I would get more information out there for people. And that's really what the site's for. That's what I am driven to do. I want to help more people get to San Diego Comic-Con and experience this for themselves. Okay, Friday and Saturday have now sold out. That has gone out from San Diego Comic-Con. So Fridays and Saturdays have gone. It is now just Thursdays and Sundays. I'm not hearing anything from upstairs, but like I say, Caroline is really, she's struggling to be invested because she's not taking part in the badge sale. If she was down here taking part and she was actually doing it, who knows? Let's see if I can get in contact with her and find out what's happening. In answer to your question, it's a great question. It's a very expensive thing to go to each year. And I think if I wasn't actually attending the convention, unless there was some reason for me to be there, either to kind of get something out of it for the site, I think it would actually be better for me to just report from it from home. But then again, you miss all the excitement and you miss all the energy. At the end of the day, I don't go to San Diego Comic-Con for the headlines. I don't go to San Diego Comic-Con for the exclusives. I don't go to San Diego Comic-Con for, I don't go to any convention really for this stuff that I'm seeing first. I go because I get off on the fandom and the level of passion. And that's what it is. It's, you go to any convention and everyone's kind of buzzing off their own fandom and they're all their own interest. You go to a pure comic convention, there you go, Andrew English, I go for my friends and cosplay. You get people who go for certain fandoms, you go and see their Korra fans, to go see their He-Man fans, their Transformers fans. Sarita P, I make San Diego Comic-Con as a vacation, absolutely. But I go to see my friends. And the bigger the convention, the more passion and excitement is in the crowd. And that's what everyone gets off on. I don't care what anyone says. That, oh, I saw such and such before so-and-so. Really? In today's landscape. It's a case of it's probably going to appear on YouTube as the panel is actually happening, which actually happened at the Warner Brothers panels last year. That as stuff was on screen, it was going out on YouTube. So you go for the excitement. Andrew English, problem for me is that the cosplay photo shoots are in the badge area, something that should have been continued from 2 years ago. Was downstairs on the ground floor where the pro booths used to be, which before they were all moved upstairs to sales. They put a single wall of San Diego Comic-Con logoed banners up, and that's where everyone congregated for cosplayers. If you wanted a picture taken, you put them up against the wall and you took a picture. Everyone just sat down. It was the most chilled out and energized, but there's a combination of the two, because it was just a great place for people to congregate. It was fantastic, and I really wish they did that again. But they didn't this year. They put some more booths back downstairs. I think they put some administration booths downstairs and kind of squirreled that whole idea. It's something that I've been wanting to suggest for MCM, that they just put up sort of like walls of banners, so people can just sort of sit there and chill out. San Diego Comic-Con has tweeted, Thursday inventory is running low. You may not be able to purchase a Thursday badge if you are selected for a registration session. This obviously will drag its heels a little bit. Thursdays and Sundays, I mean, Sunday took a long time to sell out last year. There we go. I've been told I have every day but Saturday. Open Reg can't come too soon. I understand and appreciate that, Andrew. Best of luck to you for Open Online. But yeah, Thursday is the next thing to go. And I think I am going to tap out in about 5 minutes' time. I want to say thank you very much indeed for everyone for sticking around and listening to me waffling on. Thank you very much indeed for opening up a number of discussions. Yeah, I appreciate anyone wanting to talk about Comic-Con, because at the end of the day, it is a big thing. It's a big event. It's a celebration of fandoms. To celebrate, I mean, I know people say it's the celebration of pop culture. I think it's just more the celebration of the passion in the room. Sarita P is telling me to say bye. Okay, fair enough. I think that might mean that I've outstayed my welcome, which I can totally understand. Right, tomorrow I am going to be bringing then a live report from the Lakes International Comic Art Festival. This is a pure comics art show. There are no, if you can find a Funko in that town, I'll be stunned. Considering that you've got Frank Quitely there, you've got the Etherington brothers, you've got some major international talent, but it's all about the comics art. So it's a little bit of a dry kind of affair. Has been reflected by a number of the controversies that the festival has attracted over the last couple of years. But I'm going to be talking about that with Joel Meadows, who's been there all weekend. He's also going to be talking to us about Portsmouth Comic-Con, which is taking place next May. He's going to be telling us about his plans and what's going on with that show. And also we're going to be looking forward to MCM, which is in 2 weeks' time. So that's me. Thank you very much indeed for listening to us waffle on. What I would suggest now is, if you want to continue watching the narrative as it unfolds, head over to the unofficial blog, because they are going to continue with their live stream. This was either a tech test and an impromptu thing, so I do what I can. That's all I can do. Take care, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I hope you get something, and I hope you've gotten the badges that you want. I know that some people have ducked out at this point, and I'm hoping it's because you've got your badges. If you haven't, fingers crossed that you get something in this badge sale. keep me up to date. Let me know on the Englishman SDCC account. Let me know how you do. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.